Welcome to Breaking MedTech. I am Ryan. This is Cope. His real name's Mark. No one's allowed to call him that, not even his mother. We discuss the real challenges and strategies and innovations in medtech sales and marketing, more specifically, stuff that small marketing company, not small marketing, small medtech companies and startups should be doing,
but aren't.
And hopefully we'll help them get to a point where they understand how to do it. So well, today I'm going to put down my piece of paper so I don't have to keep holding it in my hand for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Let's talk about trade shows.
Okay. Yeah. So
You're old.
I always like trade shows because I would pay my own way. And so that I could basically go hunt for opportunity, especially when I went to actually spine surgery ones or sterile processing ones or whatever I was at. It was in-person relationship, either creation, growing, or building, right? And if I'm to understand you feel as if that's a bit antiquated.
No.
Oh, all right.
So it's not that I think it's antiquated. I just don't think I think trade shows can be super valuable.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that most of these companies are good at doing trade shows. Right?
Why is that? So what should they be doing?
I think they're so let's look at trade show as a whole, right? You have the pre-trade show situation.
Right.
Got that trade show is actually going on. And then you got what is arguably the most important part, trade show follow-up, right?
Oh, okay.
So pre-trade show, if you're a small med tech company or a startup, I don't even know how you're promoting it. We know how most of these companies promote it, right? And I get annoyed and you get annoyed. And it's like, how do I know a small med tech company sucks at marketing? I just go on their LinkedIn page and I see that the last time they posted was 4 months ago when they were at AUKUS.
Yeah.
And they were like, stop by booth
419.
419.
Yeah.
No value proposition, nothing. Just stop by booth 419.
We're at booth 419. Check us out.
And then the part that then really frustrates me is the fact that they have 25 followers for their LinkedIn page and they don't understand that only 25 people saw that post.
Right.
So I think a lot of them don't do great trade show stuff. So I'm assuming you're going to ask me what would I do?
Well, yeah. So, okay. You described 3 phases: pre, during, and post. And that's it. I'd never thought about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you just described a bad pre.
Bad pre.
Tell me what bad during is in your mind.
Bad during?
Yeah. During the trade show. Is there something that you go, why are they doing that? Because they spend a lot of money to go to this thing usually.
Yeah, usually.
Right? It's always has a comma in it. It often has five digits.
At least. We're not counting the 0.00, are we?
No.
Okay. So 5 pre-point digits. So what does a bad one look like? All right. So somebody gets to your booth.
Mm.
All right. You walk up to their booth and you just dive into features. And the reason why you and I think this is funnier than most people is if you're a small med tech company or a startup and you're just having someone come with you, or you're at a trade show, you're the founder, you usually don't have a sales background.
Right. Yes.
So all you know to talk about is features, right? So a bad in-booth experience is not actually finding out what problems are you facing? Not having a good sales conversation, right? Because that's the first time you get to interact with people. And I've seen good people at a trade show who have legitimately closed deals inside of the trade show booth. And then I've seen bad people at a trade show that have not really thought about what that in trade
driven away business
driven away business, or somebody showed up and they never sat down and actually had a game plan of what are we going to do when somebody gets into our booth? What are we going to show them? What are we going to talk about? What is this experience going to look like?
Right.
It's definitely something that big companies do. And I think a lot of the times they go over the top with it. If we think of some of the Fortune 500 med device companies, and they spend more on their booth in a year than some third world countries generate.
I was going to say then the small med device companies spend on their entire budget all year.
Yeah. Oh,
you went right to GDP.
I went to straight GDP. So I think that's a bad experience. Like if you didn't plan it out and you're just like somebody shows up in your booth and you're just word vomiting at them.
Right.
Bad. Right. And then the other that's bad that ties into worse is like you don't get their contact information.
Right. Right. I have heard.
Yeah.
And you tell me, I don't know. I have heard that a lot of times at these trade shows, the people that are in the booth tend to be product managers, maybe in the marketing team, sometimes engineers, at least in my experience. And sometimes the marketing teams are, the more leads, I say, air quote, they get, they're either, there's some bonus for it. Like there's compensation, and so, and I remember hearing that. I don't know if it's true, but that it sort of explained why the marketing leads I would get from sales from these conferences that I wasn't at were usually just dreadful. Were just worthless because it seemed like people were just stuffing ballot boxes.
It seems like a personal thing for you.
Well, yeah, I make money when I sell stuff, and when I have to chase down leads where somebody's like, he said he's interested.
Oh no, I agree with you.
And then I got to go spend time doing that. I'm like, this is a complete, utter waste of time. Yet God knows if I don't go see all these people, I'm going to hear about it. Right?
Yeah. So
that's post.
Yeah. No. And I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know if that happens. I know it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't.
I had heard that it did, but I don't know. I mean,
maybe, right? And I don't know if that's really a big issue for some of these. Like, I could see that being an issue at like a massive, 100 mil, 200 mil, 300 mil
company.
Maybe Billy. I don't know if it's small, right? But like with small, so like the same idea, right? We're going to say like you don't have a plan. What was your plan to get people into your booth? What was your plan once you got people into your booth? And what was your plan to follow up with people after, right? How quickly are you following up? Do you know what you're following up with? Are you actually tracking your leads? I hate when people are like, oh no, we get so many leads at trade shows. Trade shows are great. We get so much business. And then I go like, how much business? And they go,
and they don't know. Right?
Yeah. They have no idea. Right. And it's not hard to, I mean, you want to go like straight up old school. You use a Excel sheet. I highly recommend against it, but you could use an Excel spreadsheet. Recommend a CRM, tagging them, tracking them through the process. And then you can at least know like, hey, we got 20 leads, 5 of them ended up being customers, and those customers we anticipate ARR,
right,
annual recurring revenue,
right,
of $100,000. Oh, okay. Well, then your trade show. Well, how much did your trade show cost? Well, it cost.
Yeah. So now you can do sort of a return on investment. You can hopefully predict it, and frankly, you can get better at it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
theoretically,
yeah. So that's that's why I hate trade shows for small companies, because they don't do that type of stuff.
Okay. So what should they do
plan? Right.
But, okay, but instead of saying we're at booth 419,
okay,
they plan. What are some things you think they should plan?
So if you're a small company, you maybe don't have a lot of followers. Mm-hmm. I would recommend looking at targeting ads. Mm-hmm. Usually with these shows, you get lists.
Yeah.
So you can also go like old school approach and do direct reach out to the people before the show and kind of put together a value proposition of like, hey, here's why. Hey, are you struggling with this specific thing?
Yeah.
That like, I'm not against stop by booth 419. Just be like, hey, do you struggle with this very specific problem?
So you would grab that list that you get as part of your sponsorship and booth, mm-hmm. and start sending targeted messages that describe potentially the problem that you might solve. And if you have it, it looks like this, you should stop by our booth. We may have something for you.
Yeah.
All right, that's logical.
I think it's a little more targeted, a little more planned out, little bit more, not complete random fate of, so and so walking by your booth and going like,
yeah,
that 10 by 10 looks like they solved my problems.
Yeah. Because we also know where those 10 by 10s are, buried
in the back
somewhere.
They're in the back. So,
yeah.
So you could do that, right? Direct reach out, a little more effort intensive, even though there's some tools out there that might automate the process for you. There's definitely, you could do more of a general thing, right? So if you're going to be at AUKUS, or AAOS or AORN or, a regional show, I don't think LinkedIn is perfect for this, but you can do general targeted ads to physicians of a specific type that are on LinkedIn.
What's that? What would that cost you?
As much as you want to spend.
Okay.
Be like you do like a $500 and
all right.
And I'd have to see it. Obviously the price depends on how much that like specific lead is worth to LinkedIn. It's not like there's a flat fee, but you could do that and generate more awareness. If you do have some followers and some sales reps or some, your founder has a following, right? You can definitely generate awareness without having to spend money and just be organic. But like, again, you have to plan it out. I think that would be my big thing is like, if you're going to go to a trade show, if you're going to spend $10,000 on a trade show, you better have a plan on how you're going to drive people to your booth, how you're going to convert them into leads when they're in your booth, and how you're going to follow up and convert them into sales. You better have a plan. And I would say that's the big thing that I would encourage companies to do is like, if I was going to tell you that you had to go spend $10,000 on a website, you'd go like, all right, what's the plan? What are we doing? What are we like? But when it comes to trade shows, it's just like, well, we've only ever gotten stuff from trade shows. Last year, we went to 75 trade shows and spent $1 billion. So fake numbers. Last year, we went to 10 trade shows and we dropped 150 grand. That's realistic, right? And what was your plan? Well, we made sure that we had all the supplies at the booth. You need to come up with a plan. How are you going to drive people to your booth? Is it going to be through organic because you have followers and channels to do that, or do you have to do it through paid ads?
I am amazed at how many companies you and I have talked to who are small, who have been at trade shows, felt the trade shows went well, have lists of people that allegedly stopped by their booth and said, I want to hear more, I want to learn more. And 6 months later, they're saying, yeah, we really should reach out to those people.
Oh, yeah. No.
I'm shocked. But most of those companies don't have sales and marketing people there.
Yeah. And I think the easy... so I heard somebody talking, it's a logical idea. It was not originally my idea that I heard described this way, but it was basically, so when you get a lead and you're in a booth, you should always mark them cold, warm, hot, scorching hot, sun, supernova. And basically the way that I heard this person was like, hey, we don't have a lot of energy when we have a lot of time. Before we got to the trade show, we spent 4 hours crafting a set of emails for our warm leads. These emails are in our CRM. We add the warm leads into our CRM. We follow up with them. They're automated. They go out there's a sequence associated with it.
Right.
We don't have a sales rep. This is how we generate our warm leads. We pick 5 hot leads and we prioritize those leads more than anything else, right? Those are the ones that we're reaching out that Barry, the vice president of sales, who's also in charge of finance and the Christmas party.
Right.
Those are the 5 that Barry is personally going to follow up on. The other 15 that we got, we're going to throw into our CRM, put them into an automated for 4-week sequence. And then if none of them bite in our 4-week sequence that's automated, we're going to put them into our nurture campaign.
So to recap, 2 months before we go to the show, we get the list and we sit down and we start to, we formulate a plan to say, hey, do you struggle with this? Is this a problem? Have you ever seen this? If so, stop by our booth, in essence. Then the people that we meet, we have a plan. We're going to ask them a couple of questions. If they seem to fall into this, we then say they're cold, they're warm, they're hot, let's say for argument's sakes. And then we've already written up 3 to 4 emails that those people maybe get every week. Say, hey, you said you were interested, blah, blah, what are you going to do? Want us to do whatever you're. And then if nothing comes from them, they go into a sort of a nurture campaign that we have running through our CRM of emails to sort of keep them sort of be around when they might need us.
Yeah.
And then the hottest of the hot, our guy Barry. Supernovas. Our guy Barry reaches out.
Yeah.
And is following up with them for what, a couple weeks till we're seeing action, or he runs out of gas or whatever.
No, I would say until you see action. And then, I mean, you're the salesperson here. I play a salesperson sometimes. Like Barry's, like you're going to follow up on them. And if they're supernova leads, you should be able to say, you might have even, I know someone, shout out dad, who like my dad is notorious.
Oh yeah. I've watched him do it.
Like someone going like, hey, yeah, no, I want you to come in. And he'll go, I'm like, and this might be someone on the other side of the country. And he'll go like, I'll be in your neighborhood in 2 weeks.
Oddly enough, I'm in Oregon.
Yeah.
The first week in November. How's Wednesday look?
How does Wednesday like?
I've seen him do it.
So like you're like, that's the ideal thing that Barry should be doing with the supernova leads.
So you try not to let the supernova lead leave your booth
without
the next step.
Yeah, without even getting the next step. But like that's you just have, it's like a band. I get it. Like we get 60 leads. I'm not even going to acknowledge the ones of like, we get 60 leads. Did you guys follow up with them? No, we're eventually going to get to it. Like that's like where like I'm Bob Knight throwing a chair across a basketball court. Like,
yeah, I don't want you to.
Yeah, like no. Like but like if you just come up with a plan going like, hey, Barry has the bandwidth to deal with 5 hot leads. We're going to go to this show. We know we're going to get more than 5 leads. We're going to get the biggest leads to Barry. Barry's going to follow up with them. The other ones we're going to slowly nurture along. And if they bite, we know he's not going to close all 5 of those hot leads. So we'll move someone in.
Yeah, so few people. So I'm just sitting here thinking like, how many companies have I been at that have done this?
I think big companies do it.
Well, and I think ones we have staffed, we've done, but it was generated by us, not by the company, because and it's nor should I don't expect the companies to know it. That's why they bring people like you in to know how to do this stuff and to think about it. And like the worst thing is not having a plan at all. You want to have a plan. It can be bad, but have a plan.
Yeah.
And that's a little ambiguous. You just gave us about 6 good examples of here's what the plan should consist of. And yeah, I can understand why you get frustrated, because those conferences are great. And the ones that were always the best for me were the ones I went and I'm going after this person, that person, this facility, that place. And I don't want to get back on the car or the plane or wherever it is I'm coming home without having done all those things.
Yeah.
Right. And usually I was spending my own money, and the companies, they're spending their own money, which is their investors' money. So you got to get a return on it.
Yeah.
I like that. So I like breaking it down pre, during, and after, and having, there's kind of pre and post. I like that. That's good. Listen, I would follow him if you found this was this interesting. Follow him on LinkedIn. He talks about this stuff all the time. I've learned a lot of this from Ryan. So I thought that was very, very interesting. I learned some things there.
So I also learned some things too. about myself. I learned things about myself I didn't know before.
I learned you're going to be in Oregon in the first week in November. That's very strange.
It's weird. It's the third week in November right now. I guess I know what I'm doing in 2025. So, all right. I think that's helpful.
Yeah, I think so. I think anybody listen to that who's going to a booth, well, if they didn't have a plan, they got a semblance of one now.
I would say it's November right now.
Yeah.
These are evergreen though. It's November. And you're going to go, you should be doing your trade show planning for 2025 right now. You should know what shows you're going to, what shows you're not going to, and you better start because, MedTech show season kind of starts it slows down now.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll pick back up in like February, March.
Yeah, I was going to say February, March.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you should start planning what you're going to do and figuring out and budgeting for it moving forward.
Right now. So. All right. Well, this has been Breaking MedTech.
Yes. We haven't broke anything yet.
Well, speak for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm Cope.
I'm Ryan.
He's Ryan.
Yeah.
And listen for us for next time.
Bye-bye.